Hello dear viewers, hope we are live. Still we need some couple of more seconds. Yes, today we will try to cover the sixth round of Asrian Memorial, and let me see. Yes, I think we are live. So let's go to chess results to see the pairings and to see the how many points players are having. Yes, we have. Hello, dear viewers. Yes, I think we are live so far. Yes. So we are having three players with the 4.5 points out of 5. Emin Ohanyan, Manuel Petrosyan, and Hovik Hayrapetyan. And yes, we are having only 4 players having 4 points: Arsen Davtyan, Praneshem, Edgar Hayrapetyan, and Levon Babujan. And a lot of players, yes, around 10, maybe even more, 3.5. Yes, and today Emin Ohanyan is facing Manuel Petrosyan, Arsen Davtyan is playing Hovik Hayrapetyan, Praneshem is playing Edgar Hayrapetyan, and Levon Babujan is playing Artur Davtyan. Korshunov, David Shahinyan, Hakopyan Erik, Danielyan Vahe, Sukiasyan Vahe, Igalidze Gayos, Nalbadyan Vaha, yes, Sahagyan Alex. Yes, we are having only 8 boards live, and Zaven Andreasyan is playing Rudolf Pashikyan. Yes, very tough tournament. Yes, such a player like Zaven Andreasyan has problems to win some games. As we can see, he's having only 3 points out of 5. Yes, only +1. And yes, Alexei Alexandrov has +1, 3 points. Tornike Stanikidze. Yes, I played all of them. Zaven I played this year, and every year we play each other during Armenian National Championship. Stanikidze I played last year during French team championship, and I can say he's very tough opponent. Yes. So let's check the game. So here we are, and again we see, so knight f3, d5, d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. Manuel Petrosyan decided not to surprise all of us, and he went for Ragozin. Yes, he can definitely play many other lines and openings. He is good theoretician, but for today's game he decided to stick Ragozin. Very solid, healthy opening. And in this tournament we already seen at least 2 games by Emin Ohanyan against Hovik Hayrapetyan and against Vache Hovakimian. Yes, and again Emin goes bishop g5, h6, bishop f6, queen takes f6, e3, short castle, rook c1. And if we remember in our previous videos, in our previous lives, I showed, I covered that knight c6 was played by Vache Hovakimian, and Hovik Hayrapetyan went d takes c. So takes c5, short castle c takes d, And white has here knight d4, black goes bishop d7, queen b3, knight c6, knight takes c6, bishop c3. Yes, and knight d4, queen e7, a3, bishop a5. And if I'm not mistaken, against Tovik Karapetyan, Emin Ohanyan played queen takes d4, rook d8, queen e5, bishop b6, g4, knight d7, queen g3, knight f6, knight f6, g takes f. Queen f6 was the strongest, but g takes is also fine. And game ended in a draw. Tovik Karapetyan played very classic game. Here we see takes d move by Emin. Seems he checked and he analyzed this position very deeply. He has many ideas. And rook d8 by Manuel Petrosyan, rook c2. This was played in 2023 or 2024. I guess it was previous year during Veikanze Tata Steel between Giri and Gukesh. And Giri just crushed in that game against Gukesh because the idea is being to go rook c2 and then rook e2. Shahryar Mamedyarov has many games in this line against Lenier Dominguez. So, and later on Aram Hakopian also played in St. Louis classic tournaments. Yes, the idea is being rook c2, rook e2. Yes, here, according to the computer, bishop d7 is the strongest. Yes, but I'm sure that Manuel is aware of the position. He is familiar with this rook c2 move. He went d5, knight d7, d5, he takes d was played. And no doubts, I mean, is going to take with the queen on d5. Yes, I mean, simply, yes, and he played queen d5. No doubts, Emin knows. And yes, now Manuel should find knight b6, which he can easily do. And such a player like Manuel, without much efforts, should go knight b6, queen takes a5, queen takes e4 is there. So it is very much interesting that, okay, let me switch it off just to not have access to engines. Let me check our YouTube channel. Do we have anything there? Yes, we don't have much there. We have small technical issue with the camera, I see. Can I display video? I think I can, or I cannot. Let me do it. Hope I fix it. Let me just see. Did I know or not? Yes, knight b6, queen takes a5, queen takes e4, and there bishop b3. But why I am forced to go bishop b6? Though I have it, but why I am forced? Yes, more or less I can understand why knight b6 is the strongest move. Yes, knight b6 was played by Manuel Petrosyan. White goes queen takes a5. No doubts queen e4 will follow. Emin wants to play probably bishop b3. Yes, I think I fixed the problem. Bishop b3 was played. Yes, bishop b3 was played. Yes, and somehow I saw that computers are suggesting bishop e6, which is a very much possible move, but like of course now black really needs to develop bishop and then rook a8 rook. Yes, bishop g4 you don't really want to go, and bishop f5, bishop is quite soft there, and especially f7 pawn, so bishop e6 looks very healthy. Yes, the only move which can pose some problems is bishop e6. Yes, let's say I go rook e1. Yes, but engine was showing rook d1, so this is the point probably. Yes, if takes, bishop b3 comes, and yes, I don't see anything better than moving the rook to d2 or c1. Yes, I don't see anything better than that. So if I go some queen f5, then maybe I'm having some problems after rook c5, or even queen f5, bishop f5, rook c7, but there rook d7 is coming. Yes, bishop b3, Manuel is taking his time. Yes, position is quite simple. He should just take another 5-10 minutes and calculate bishop e6 move and just equalize the position. Yes, nice attempt by Emin Ohanyan. He had just a very small idea after rook c2, going d5 and trying to just test his opponent's memory and knowledge. So let's check what are we having here. What is happening here? Arsène Davtyan is playing Hovik Karapetyan. Let me remind you that Arsène is having half point less than Hovik, and seems like Arsène is well prepared. He didn't spend any single minute. He only gained some time. Yes, again bishop b5. Already we've seen a lot of attempts in this tournament with bishop b5 check. Yes, d4 c takes, a6 bishop e2. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, Manuel Petrosyan played this line against Gaius Nigalidze, and here Manuel played c4 and e5 queen e3, and here the strongest is d5 to play, otherwise you are in some trouble. At least white gets Maroczy bind with knight c3, so d5 is the strongest move. So short castle was played, and Hovik goes g6. I think this is the strongest, though I'm not sure. No, I think here the strongest is to go this, you know, to go e5. No, yes, this is the thing. You go e5, queen e3, you go knight c5. I think this is the idea, one of the ideas at least. So Hovik goes g6, very healthy move. He simply wants to develop bishop on g7, knight c3, bishop g7. Wait, but I think I never faced the short castle. At least I don't remember. Yes, white delays, because if you continue like Manuel did, c4, then black gets the c5, and then queen e3, d5 comes. That's why you go short castle. So g6 definitely not the strongest, because after g6 even maybe c4, bishop g7, knight c3 is possible. Yes, so e5, queen e3, knight c5. The idea is being simply not to let opponent get the c4, knight c3 bind. So if you go knight c3, then c4 will be much harder to achieve. If you go knight bd2, then no one really cares about c4 because knight is awkwardly placed on d2. Here usually white does play knight fd2 and tries to get c4, knight c3, but obviously knight is not well placed on d2. Yes, Hovik goes g6, and here Arsene does not play c4. He goes knight c3, bishop g7, rook d1. Obviously white is preparing e5, short castle e5. Yes, knight e5, I just take it. So d takes c5, probably idea is to take. So knight h5 and queen h4 by Arsene Davtyan. Wow, what a prep. Yes, dear viewers, dear friends, we see that despite Hovik Hayrapetyyan's experience, he's about 30 years old. I mean, a little bit older than 30. Yes, his younger opponent just came well prepared, and now Hovik is taking his time, and he's in some trouble, because I played Arsene and I know that he's always well prepared, and he's mainly working with Tigran Harutyunyan. Okay, we will definitely come back, and Manuel goes bishop e6, rook e1, and will Manuel say rook d1? No doubts he can, but the question is, rook d1 is the only move, or I have something else? No doubts he will go rook d1, like, without spending much time. Yes, what are we having here? Pranesh M is playing Edgar Hayrapetyyan. Yes, this famous line, and not knight db5 or a3 or any other move. Knight takes c6, very principled chess. And here queen c7. Some other lines are also possible. Yes, queen c7, f4, and here queen b6 is another option. Rook b8. Yes, the idea of rook b8 is after c4 to just leave the knight on d5 after bishop b4, king e2, and something like short castle, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, a3, queen b6. I think here you also have bishop b7, which is very interesting move. Yes, I go, for example, c4, you go knight b4, I go c5. Yes, you go queen b8, attacking my pawn. If I try a3 here, then queen a5 is coming. Yes, yes, c5, stopping all kind of c5 ideas. And then bishop a6, trading bishop. Yes, a3, bishop f1, rook takes f1. Knight goes back to d5. And this is, I guess, Ivan Saric had a game against Nijat Abbasov. I also had game against Nikita Matinyan. Game ended in a draw. Ivan Saric managed to win his game. Yes. Bishop b7 is one option. Queen c7, f4, attacking the pawn and protecting it. So rook b8, I know also this line, like c4 comes, bishop b4, king e2. And here f5 is the move. And yes, you have knight f2, but you can take it. You can go bishop e3, you can go knight d6, takes, bishop b7. And again, Emin Ohanyan knows these lines very deeply. You can check his games. Rook b8 is also possible move. I remember Vahe Danielyan played this line against Velimir Ilić during European Individual Championship 2023. And if I'm not mistaken, he won that game. Yes, a3. Yes, another game is Duda against Nisipiano, where c4, bishop b4, king e2, short castle. White took the knight on d5 and won the game. So a3, stopping all kind of checks. Queen b6, bishop d3. As you can see, Pranesh M didn't really spend any time. Yes, bishop a6, takes, queen e2, takes, f5. Yes, knight f2. Yes, usually you don't take on f6. Black can take with the knight back. I don't think g takes f is really working because of c4. Yes, f5, c takes d, f takes c, d takes c, d5. Yes, knight f2, knight is going to d3, and then c4 ideas are possible. Maybe bishop d2, but black should be okay. Black has two ideas. One is to go somewhere g5, and the other is to go d6. We will come back to this position, and Manuel Petersen did not play rook d1 yet. He is taking his time, no need to rush. Wow, we are having theoretical battle in other game as well. So Levon Babujan went d4, and they played Najdorf, bishop e3, e5, knight b3, bishop b6, f3, h5. I played this line with the black pieces many times. Queen d2, knight b7. Yes, bishop e7 is possible option as well. Yes, it was played by yes, in Giri's Najdorf course you can find bishop e7 move, but he recommends it through this move order, like f3 you go, bishop e6, queen d2, h5. Because here if you go queen d2, then black does have knight g4. So f3, bishop e6, queen d2, h5. Here g4 isn't really working because of d5, g5, d4. Yes, so they started through different move order. Yes, I think here the strongest is to go knight d5. Yes, queen d2, knight d5, knight d7, knight d5. Here black does have knight takes d5, he takes d, bishop f5. Yes, bishop takes g6, long castle, knight b6. They are playing very principal line, and here Babujan played queen a5. Another idea is being here to go king b1. Yes, usually knight b takes d5, bishop g5, bishop e7. Yes, something like bishop d3, queen c7. Yes, sacrificing the pawn, but it is very hard for black to castle either of the sides. Like short castle, always h4, g4 comes. If long castle, then c4 is coming. You can find very recently played game between Ivan Cheparinov and Duda, Grand Swiss, Isle of Man. Yes, queen a5, this is another option, just not letting opponent to take the pawn, but it allows bishop h6. Yes, takes. Here, if I'm not mistaken, white also does have some queen d2 f4 idea, which was played by Kirill Shevchenko against Ruslan Ponomaryov, or Ponomaryov played it against Shevchenko. So king b1, king f8, yes, standard idea. King goes to g7. King will be very safe on g7. I remember also another game by Veselin Topalov against Radek Wojtaszek. Yes, c4, king g7, and c5. Yes, it is very interesting to understand what did Levon Babujan prepare against knight b takes d5. What does he want? Yes, either you should take d takes c, or you should not take knight b d5. We will come back to these games. And by the way, wow, rook d1 was played by Manuel Petrosyan, and rook c8, rook takes c8, bishop d1. What a prep! I'm just I'm surprised and impressed. Like yes, I'm really impressed by the level of preparation. Let me check our YouTube channel to see, are we having anything there, any updates, anything? Nothing. Nothing is happening. And yes, let's continue. We'll come back to let's first wow, I am impressed. I am impressed by Arsen Davtyan's prep, and like the way Arsen Davtyan and Emin Ohanyan are working with their coaches. I'm just impressed, like no questions. Like how deeply and how interestingly they are working and analyzing different lines. Because what Arsene Davtyan played is not like very well known or like, and Hovik makes all the logical moves. Yes, Korshunov Shahinian, David Shahinian is e4, e6, d4, d5, e5, bishop d7. Yes, usually here c5 is the strongest, bishop d7. Wow, knight f3, a6. So very, very, very old and very, very rare line. The point of a6 and bishop d7 definitely to go bishop b5 and trade the bishops. Yes, I don't have much information and much knowledge or any knowledge. So Korshunov went bishop e2, logical move. I would seriously consider going bishop d3. So bishop b5. Yes, it does not make much sense to take on b5. So, and here, you know, going a4, you can go a4, stop bishop b5, but I think black just goes c5, and later on they can try to exploit b4 square. So I would consider bishop d3. So short castle takes, knight e7 by David Shahinian. And here I would consider like maybe moving the rook to somewhere, and then knight bd2, knight f1. Yes. So rook d1 was played. Knight d7, b3. Yes, his idea is to probably go c4. Knight g6. David decided to have his knight on g6. So c4, c6. He doesn't want to allow any c takes d. Knight bd2, knight f1. Knight is going to g3, I guess, and probably knight g3. We got some Caro-Kann type of position. And yes, it's probably very, very slightly better for white. Yes, g3. Yes, g3. And now black should maybe try to somehow organize maybe some f6 ideas. Maybe a5, a4. Yes, I like g3 very much, with the ideas to go h4. Yes, whenever f6 comes, I guess e takes f is the problem, and then e6 is hanging. And yes, Manuel Pedrosian went queen c6. Queen a7 is not really working because of rook a8. The only question is what will follow with knight d4. But knight d4, just queen d5 is coming, no? Queen d5, and what do you want? Like, I don't see anything. And yes, it's just fine, no? Knight d4, queen d5. Yes, queen d5, bishop takes d5. Yes, you don't have simply anything. Yes, after queen d5, you maybe have... no, you don't have anything. No, but it is very interesting that Emin was blitzing out all the moves. Yes, Eric Hakopian is playing via Danielian. Let's check, let's see what are we having here. Yes, e4, e5. Yes, Italian, Giocopiano, e5. Yes, h3, h6. The point of h6 to stop bishop g5 ideas after short castle. So rook e1, short castle, knight bd2, bishop e6, bishop b5, queen b8, knight f1, queen a7. Yes, something similar was played in Zavan Andresian, Alberto Atoyan game. I think Zavan here went maybe knight h4, queen a7, queen f3, knight e7, knight f1, knight g6, knight f5, bishop f5, e takes f, knight h4. But Zaven also had some games against Robert Ovanesyan in our Armenian National Championship. Yes, knight f1, queen a7, bishop e3, bishop e3, knight x e3, knight e7. Yes, so far players are repeating the theory. Bishop a4, knight g6, bishop c2. Yes, bishop wasn't doing much on a4. Now bishop is back to c2. White is preparing d4 ideas. Queen b6, attacking the pawn. b3, rook e8, queen d2, rook d8, d4 and c6. Yes, they are so classy. Like yes, Amin continues blitzing his moves. Wow, this is also very interesting. Like, no doubts white got d4 c5, d5 g6, e4 d6, knight c3, bishop g7, knight f3, knight f6, bishop b5, a4. Yes, h3 to stop all kind of bishop g4, bishop c4, I like it very much, a6, e5, knight goes to e8. Why not a5? Because probably black would play some bishop b5 or knight b5, probably knight b5. Yes, e5, knight e8, and yes, bishop f4 or rook e1, or maybe even queen e2 are the moves to consider, but b5 is coming anyway. And last game, Alex Sahakian is playing Vahan Nalbandian. Yes, Rui Lopez and bishop c5. This was played by Hikaru Nakamura against Yanni Pomnishi. It was maybe round 13th. Last candidates tournament. So short castle, knight e7. Here I also recommend c3, knight e7, d4. You can also find very good video on Levitov's channel, YouTube channel, where Alexander Halifman is analyzing and recommending bishop c5 for black. I studied, I checked, I watched, and I like it very much. And by the way, I recommend for those who read and understand Russian language to check Levitov channel on YouTube, and there you can find a lot of interesting material, and what usually Alexander Shimanov and Alexander Halifman are doing. All their videos I like very much. So short castle, knight e7, c3, bishop a7, d4, knight g6. You could also start with knight g6, d4, bishop a7, and yes, bishop g5, f6. I think Jan did not play bishop g5 somehow. But what did Jan play? Of course, if d5, then knight e7 comes, and it is the game between Tari and Jordan Van Forest. So if you don't play bishop g5, then black develops queen on f6. So bishop g5, f6, bishop e3, short castle, rook e1, yes, d6, knight bd2, king h8, h3, e takes d, maybe bishop g5 actually was played. Yes, here maybe knight d4, bishop d4, bishop d4, c takes d, d5, something like. Okay, now let's start. Briefly we checked the games. Now more or less we know the openings. And here knight d4, queen d5 was played as we more or less predicted. And you know, here I don't see any problems for. Yes, probably the move is to go knight f5. What does Emin Ohanyan want here to play? Yes, it is very much interesting because he prepared this line, and Manuel found all the precise moves, and honestly, for the moment, I don't see any problems for black. I see some small issues for white only. Yes, so knight f5 with that, but rook c1 is there, no? Knight e7 can go somewhere like f8, knight e5, knight e5. Maybe that's the strongest actually. Knight f5 maybe is the idea. Otherwise, you are not only, let's say, better. You might have some small issues, because if my knight jumps to c4, then how are you going to protect your pawns? Yes, and compare the bishops. So knight f5 is probably the only move, but just king f8, and what do you have? Yes, it is very much interesting what Emin Ohanyan wants to play here. Yes, because he had other moves, like he could take rook d1 and go rook c1 and make a draw. He went rook c8 and he took here, and he even went this and take. It is interesting. Yes. Yes, so far I can say that I was impressed, and still I am impressed by Ohanyan's prep, but Manuel found all the precise moves, and white should already start playing carefully, otherwise he's in some trouble. Knight f5 does not really work, I just go king f8. And I was thinking maybe knight f5 with the idea to go knight e7 and at least trade my knight with the bishop. Yes, what bishop g4 was played. I mean, doesn't spend any time, and again I'm impressed. So he's in prep. Okay, I see rook c4 move, which is very logical. Yes, but probably he wants to go rook d1. Yes, I have rook d8, of course. Rook c7 I don't like much. I have rook c4, very principal move. Yes, but you will play rook d1. And what my pieces are doing, I'm not sure at all. Like knight a4, always b3 comes, and I do lose a piece. Yes, you can go rook c5, but rook c5 is quite artificial move. No, it's a very symmetrical position where black does have extra move of h6, so he does not have any problems with back rank. Yes, so Manuel is choosing between rook d8, rook c4, but I don't like rook c4 at all. Rook c4, rook d1. Yes, I also don't like much rook c5 move. You of course can. Yes, rook c5 is possible move to go. Yes, and let's move. Wow, wow, he is blitzing. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. Yes, Hovik has only 41 minutes, and Arsen has 1 hour 29 minutes. And probably the move should be Rook AD1. I don't see anything clever than because if I go knight e4, but the problem is, what do I play if h6? Yes, yes, it does not make any sense. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, dear viewers and friends, what is happening. Like knight e4 or rook d1. I simply don't have any moves, so knight e4 with some ideas to go rook d7 and then bishop or queen takes on d7, knight f6 and queen h7 checkmate. And of course I'm not going to take on e4, but let's say I go h6, and what do you want simply? Like knight f6, you can resign, g5 pawn is hanging, d6 rook is hanging. You have knight e4 and you are not yes, but knight f6, I think you are already in big trouble after bishop f6. Yes, queen h6, I can take bishop g5. Bishop takes g5, queen takes d6. Yes, rook d7, you can take bishop d7, queen h6, bishop g5, bishop g5, f6. No, it's not like you are losing, but I guess rook ad1 is the move to play. And yes, I will consider h6, but h6 you always can go knight back to e4. Yes, and rook ad1 I guess was played. And yes, b5 is one option, but I don't like it. I like more h6 going, but h6 knight e4 is the move to play. Yes, you don't have much moves with this knight. The other knight is also hard to move. Yes, this is like very interesting. So c4 I would seriously consider, but it goes this. So logical move by Hovik, rook d1. Yes, another logical move, and d5 came. And just here, queen h4. So Hovik had knight e5. No, but knight e5, don't forget that knight e5, bishop e5, bishop h5, g takes h, and yes, definitely white is more than fine. So he took the pawn and knight g5, attacking the knight on h5 and kind of forcing to go knight f6 back and bishop e3, just completing the development. And whenever h6 comes, of course I go back with the knight to f3 or e4, even maybe f3, because h6 and e5 are hanging. Yes, and this is a slight surprise like this. Queen e7 and rook e8. Hovik just goes rook e8. He is not afraid at all. Yes, let's say that here after queen e7 always knight h7 ideas are there. For example, b5 I can even maybe consider taking on h7. That's why rook e8. And what should white do? Bishop c4, knight e4. Yes, hard to say. Hard to say anything. Yes, a few minutes, please. Yes. Sorry for some silent minutes. And yes, rook e8 was played. So what Arsene Davtyan can do here? Like bishop c4 had the idea to maybe somewhere sacrifice on e6. I don't know, knight e6, f takes c, bishop e6, or knight e6, f takes c, rook e6. But even in the end, if you just sacrifice your queen, you are looking very good. Yes, the other idea is to go knight e4. But whenever knight e4, I assume black does want to go h6. And yes, knight f6, knight takes f6. Yes, I do have problems with the... Yes, it is interesting. Yes, Manuel Petrosian, by the way, played rook d8. He is having very... no doubts he equalized the position. Yes, Arthur Davtyan is taking his time. Not much is happening in David Shahinian game. Rook e8 was played. He is probably looking for some f6 ideas. Otherwise, maybe he also wants to open a free square on f8 for the knight if white is pushing h4, h5. Let's say to meet h4 with h6, and if h5, the knight is going back to f8. Yes, I would consider here going h4. It does not make much sense to commit your knight to e3 very early, because you can push h4, which is very useful anyway, and later on you can decide to go knight e3 and maybe knight g4 or knight g2 even, or you can also go knight h4 and then jumping to knight g4. Yes, black is freeing f8 square for the knight, and also preparing maybe f6 ideas, and whenever it takes f comes to take with the bishop. And yes, h4 was played. Yes, here I would go f6. Otherwise, if I don't play it, then I'm in trouble, because white has very easy play. Knight is coming to h2, knight goes g4. I can always push h5, and now even I want to push it. So f6 should be the move. He takes f, bishop f6. If h5, knight is always going back to f8. Yes, I think David really wants to go it. Yes, I think he is kind of forced. Or maybe he can first go like knight f8 and then prepare f6. Otherwise, if he's not going f6, then he's in trouble. Under slight pressure. Yes, and they got something similar to Nakamura's game, like rook e1. Can we remember that game, d6? but no chance simply to remember. No, but somehow I remember Hikaru did not have pawn on f6. Yes, h3. Stopping bishop g4 ideas. E takes d. So the idea, if c takes d as well, d5 is always coming. Yes, and here you are not taking with the queen, you also can go knight e7. This is the point. To take on d5 with the knight. Yes, but it is very, very close to Hikaru's game. Okay, what are we having here? Bishop f4 was played. Yes, I like white's position. So bishop e8. Wow, wow, this is very, very deep. This is very deep. So the problem is always b5 move. But I would go bishop a2 here. I would consider bishop a2, or even yes, let's say bishop a2. I do go. Okay, b5. You have only two ideas. One is knight f5, knight d4, and the other is b5. So I go bishop a2. You go b5. I go rook d1. Because always b5 is in the air. Like yes, one idea is something like jumping here. The other is going b5, but b5 is very concrete. Like a takes, then yes, I cannot really take on b5. Maybe one of the reasons why he went bishop e8 was to threaten already b5. Otherwise, earlier I could take on d7 with the knight, and then already b5 would be under attack. But what I like, just going bishop a2. I don't like placing bishop on b3 because b5 c4 would come. Okay, knight f5 if you want, please, you are welcome. And let's say here I want to go rook d1 or rook e1. Whenever before knight e4 I will go. B takes a4 I don't care much. I care about c4 because after c4 my bishop is very much out of the game. That's the only problem. I can push a5 as well, but after a5 the problem is being you are going to play knight b5 and then knight is jumping to d4, or maybe you can consider taking on c3, and at least some of your pieces are getting some squares. So ideal placement of my pieces and my rooks would be rook d1 and rook e1. If I will manage to get rook d1 and rook e1, I would be very, very satisfied. So knight c4 is not really working because I will just take with the queen. And yes, I'm very happy because c5 is hanging. Yes, and b5, a takes is coming, but bishop d3, I don't want to place my bishop there. Bishop b3 as well. Bishop a2 should be the move. So rook a d1 or rook e1, I like. You can also move the bishop back, and whenever b5, rook d1 or rook e1. I like white's position. I like it. Yes, here this is like they are playing very modern chess. Yes, I like Eric Hakopian's prep as well. And he's not only repeating a very trendy line, he also knows some very deep ideas. If I'm not mistaken, he's working with Arman Hayrapetyan. Yes, also via Danielian, he also knows where he should place his pieces. So bishop c2, Like queen b6, not sure about queen b6, but does look interesting. b3, rook e8, queen d2, d4, c6, rook d1, c4. Yes, white achieved probably all what they could dream after move bishop c2, because they managed to get the c4, d4 pawns. Let's say e takes d ideas aren't really working or bothering white much. I think white will just go queen takes d4. Yes, queen c3, I like, very classy move, but by Eric Hakopian. Yes, very classy move. So the problem is d5 ideas aren't really working. Always I just take c takes d. c5 you have, but I'm not going to play d5. I will just take d takes c, or even maybe d takes c, and then I'm placing one of my pieces, knight to d5, and after knight d5 I will decide either to take with the e pawn or c pawn. Anyway, I'm having better structure and better position. So knight f4 ideas are not really working because d takes, and in the end after trade on d8, e5 pawn might be under attack. Yes, I like it. I like white's position. At least they are slightly better. Again, not much, but slightly better position for them, because I don't see any moves for blacks, like knight h5, knight f4, knight f4. Like, it's not we are threatening d5, because always after d5 you can go c5, or we are not also threatening some d takes c ideas, because you can just take it, and d takes, then I can try c5 with the knight c4 ideas, which is possible very much. Yes, knight f5 jumps, I don't fully get the point of going knight f5. Yes, maybe you can go a3, another very useful move. But for black I don't see move. d5 isn't working, c5 you will take d takes c or d takes c. E takes d you can, no one is going to take with the knight, probably knight e4, bishop e4, rook e4. Yes, I guess I have rook d4, I have queen d4 as well. Like rook d4 is also a decent move. c5, I can just move my rook back, knight e4, bishop e4, rook e4. Yes, but you take knight d5, rook e1, I take with the rook. Yes, but I'm not sure there. You know, maybe e takes d4 is an option to consider. Yes, something very concrete, because here I just win your pawn, I guess. And I don't see any problems for white. Yes, what kind of problems can I have? Yes, simply I don't see. Like knight f5 you have, of course, you can go with the other knight as well, attacking my g7 square. But is it like very bad for me? But for example, worst scenario, if I go rook e5, why I am in trouble? Why I am in trouble? Knight g7, king g7, I'm fine. f4, knight is hanging. Yes. And my idea is, if you take queen d4, I want to do this weird looking move. Yes, but here, of course, it does not work. You will just go queen b2 and knight d4, knight d5. Yes, this is bad. I was thinking about rook d4, but here c5 might work. Knight d5, c takes d, and if you move, then knight d4 comes. So bishop e4, rook e4, knight d5, rook e1 comes with the check. So you will take with the queen, c5, and you will go queen b2 most likely. And knight d4, knight d5 finishes the game. Yes, here you have this knight d5. This is similar to some Philidor type of structure. Yes, but here you are not forced to take f3 is hanging, but you have some moves like just moving the knight any other square and preparing f4 and maybe jumping with the knight to f5. E takes d was played. Wow. Yes, I understand why he went for e takes d, because what else? It was very hard to find a useful move. So e takes d, and now I doubt knight d4 he will go. Rook d4 I also don't like much because c5 is there. And as I pointed out that I think you are just losing your pawn. Yes, queen d4 I'm expecting. And if c5, queen b2 comes. Yes, here I'm expecting knight e5 to be played, and some move like knight h2 or maybe even knight h4. Knight h4 I also like very much. Yes, knight h4 with the idea is also to jump knight f5. You can also go knight h2 and then prepare f4, but I like more this move. Yes, and here, you know, I see some issues for black. So queen d4, I guess white should play. Let's go. And knight b5 was played. No, wait, it was rook d1. Yes, threatening maybe knight b5 or knight f5. So I don't think knight c4 or knight a4 makes much sense. So bishop e4, knight b5. Probably Manuel is going to take on d1. Yes, I think what else? He could go knight a4. He could also play maybe knight c4, but this is like very risky move. I think you are just making some risky moves. So bishop e4 was played, and knight b5. Yes, what do you want? Yes, a7 is hanging. I don't think rook e8 makes any sense. So rook d1, bishop takes d1. Yes, I do have knight c4. I can also go something like a6. Yes, probably somewhere here, or knight c3. Yes, Manuel is taking his time. Yes, does he have any other move? Probably not. And h6 was played by David Shainian, so it means that he was preparing, he was freeing the, yes, rook d1 by Manuel Petrusian. He was freeing f8 square for the knight to move it back. And we see that Arsène Daktian is really taking his time. He already spent maybe more than 20 minutes. It's not easy. Yes, bishop a2. I'm somehow guessing, which is something. I guessed Vahe Sukiasian's move, and I like it. Bishop a2 and then rook d1, rook e1. You know, I don't care much about knight f5, knight d4 because yes, I will just place my rook on d1, queen to d2, I guess. Okay. Let me check my YouTube. Let me see what are we having. Hello, dear friend. Yes, we have some messages. Hello, dear friend. So, where are you from? Which country are you presenting? Tell us a little bit about you. If you are there, dear friend, tell us about you. And let me also check. Yes, and here I was thinking that rook a1 can be the move. Though he takes too much time to make his decisions, but the way he plays I like very much. Sympathy is what we need, my friend. Yes, rook a d1. I don't care about before. I will just anyway. I'm threatening kind of to go knight e4. Rook a d1, c4 is the move I don't like much, because you know you go c4, you restrict my bishop. But the problem of c4 move is that means that you are not going to take anytime soon b takes a, or you are not going to push b4. So I can simply continue rook e1. Okay, I agree, you restrict my bishop, but please look at your pieces. Look at your own pieces. None of them has any moves. Yes, my bishop is out for the time being, but my other pieces are so well placed, and I don't care much. And it's not like bishop is closed for the entire game. It is closed for a couple of moves. And rook d1, bishop d1 was played, and here Manuel is taking his time. He does not have any problems. He is just thinking how to continue. Does he have knight c4? I doubt knight c4 makes any sense, because first of all knight e7 is there. Also b3 is an option to play. Yes, I'm considering I'm thinking him to play a6. Yes, white is having knight c7. White also can jump to d6. But you know, once, I mean, you know, a6, maybe knight d6 I might play. And if you move your bishop somewhere, like, for example, if you go this, if you carelessly go a6, yes, but I have knight c6. Even worst scenario, I can go knight c6, c8. I apologize. Yes, because all what I need is king f8, king e7. Because here I was thinking knight d6. Now this bishop is hanging. So bishop d5 you should play probably. Because bishop c6 you have it, but you know, here I can go bishop b3, which forces you already to go knight d5. Yes, still you don't have problems, I assume. Yes, and bishop d5, if you would play here, I want to make this stupid move of bishop f3. Yes, takes. I ruined my structure, but my point was to... Yes, but here you will play knight a4, which is probably the only move to play. Otherwise, I'm just winning this pawn on b7. So you go knight a4. I don't take there. I will start... yes, I will go b3. And you know, I'm doing maybe better. And before is coming. You know, dear friends, so still some small issues are there. So knight c8 does not make much sense. Maybe because of bishop g4. Yes, here f5. Yes, let's say I have this, but I don't like it. b3. Am I really going to play knight b2? Of course not. So a6, I will go knight d6. And here bishop d5, I go bishop f3. I do this stupid move. You take, I take. You go knight a4, otherwise this pawn is hanging. But maybe you have this king f8 takes knight, but it's because this b3 and I'm pawn up. I remain pawn up, which is something. And that's why Manuel is taking his time. He does have this, and if you go bishop f3, now I wanted to go some knight d5 move. But I don't like it. I don't like it because you always can go some knight c4 with the ideas knight a5 or knight e5. Knight f5 with the ideas knight d4. So let's find let's find easier way, like knight c8, bishop g4. This is the only move, right? Otherwise, anyway, king f8 is coming. So this I will play f5. So, okay, I don't care much about bishop h5, though you have it. So bishop e2, let's say you go, and something like king f7. So maybe you should really go bishop h5. But okay, let's say I go king f8. Shouldn't be worse at all. Like knight c3, bishop is always going there. Yes, if you move the knight, then knight is coming to d6. You know, I like going knight c8. I think last precise move for black, and game will end in a draw. Yes, because if you go a6, then knight d6 is coming. I'm very much worried that this can be unpleasant. This can be unpleasant. And you are going to lose your pawn on... Yes, on b7. That's why I like knight c8. Going knight c8 and coming f5. Maybe the line still goes. No, f3 is not an option to play. But you know, you have this... no, bishop e2 I don't care much. So you have it. Yes, but here I cannot really take it because bishop f5 is coming. I don't really want to go here, though I have it. Like this, you go here, I go knight d6, and I'm probably fine again. But you will play bishop d5, and you will go f3, maybe f4, king f2. Yes, Robert Ovanesyan would laugh on me because he has such a good technique of playing endgames. Yes. If I go bishop e2, then king f7, and I like more or less black's position. Like, and who said that my pawn on f5 is target or weakness, or it weakens anything? Like, probably not. Okay, let's leave this position for the time being, and queen h3 was played by Asrian Memorial. Wow, king f8, king f8, what a move. Wow. So I assume the idea is being, if I take, what do you want? What do you want? So what do you want? Probably knight c4 you want? I guess knight c4. Because otherwise knight is coming to b5. So knight c4 is the move. Yes, my pawns are hanging. Bishop e2, bishop b3, knight c8, knight b5. But you know, let's try something like this. You take here, and let me try something like going knight c8, knight b5. You know, like knight b5 if I try. Can I try it or not? I can of course try it. You know, I just want to check, honestly. Let's see. Wow. Wow. So let's go a little bit back. Yes, takes, queen c6 manual found. Yes, h4, so this, and the only move. Bishop g4, so he knew maybe all this. Yes, knight c8 is working, king f8 as well. So, yes, no doubts. Yes, manual found another good move. Wow, knight h8 by David Shahinian with the ideas later on to bring knight to f7. Very creative. Let's see, are we having... No, we don't have more. Yes, queen d4 was played by Erika Kopian and knight f4 via Danielian. Close it. Jumped. Yes, what are we having? Yes, bishop a2, b5, rook a d1 was played, dear friends. Yes, and here I think we have some technical issues with the broadcast because I don't think Arthur Davtyan is really taking that much time. I don't think somehow. Yes, here what can we... This is very hard to judge and assess the position. Yes, I really like White's position, but I also don't see how can I improve it. Like, it's not like I would play bishop b4, I would probably play something else. No one is definitely going to take bishop b4, a takes b. I would seriously consider going knight a6 here. Yes, knight a6 I like. Bishop e7 I will take with the king. And then rook is coming to b3 maybe. Because anyway, knight on c7 does not have any future. So knight should slowly go to a6 at least. Black always has these ideas of going somewhere g5 or preparing it. Yes, black also does have the c5 move, which is interesting, but I don't like c5. I don't like, honestly, c5 here going. Even if opponent does not take and opponent is not going to take on c5, just bishop c3, I don't like the position. So I like knight a6. And yes, if you take, I just take on e7. And then my rook comes to b3, the other rook to b8. And later on we will see. Yes, if you don't trade the bishops, and then the question is why you went bishop b4. Yes, I can also jump to c5 with the knight and maybe to e4 and trade the knights and then rook b3 again. You can always go some g5 ideas. Let's say bishop e7 takes, f takes g. Maybe even going rook b to g8 and then h6. I don't think white is better at all. Yes, it is. So what was the... c5 would have... c5, very clever, you know. c4, knight e7, knight c6. Bishop d2, it was very important to go bishop d2. Because again it allows c5. c5 with the c4 ideas. If you go c4, knight b6, you cannot protect my pawn. Your pawn, b3, a4. But bishop d2, rook b2 is coming, no? some rook b1 probably. No, like b1. Yes, knight b6 also possible move, and knight a6. Yes, knight h6, h3 it says, but bishop b4 it takes b, knight b4, rook a4 or knight c5 maybe. Okay, black does not have problems, and knight a7 was played. Knight c4 will follow, otherwise knight is coming, and there I'm expecting some bishop move, because b3 knight a3 will he take. Yes, knight a7. Emin Ohanyan offered the draw after knight a7, and Manuel Petrosyan accepted. Yes, well, it was another nice prep by Emin Ohanyan and his coaches. And Manuel Petrosyan, either he knew or he just found over the board and equalized the position, and game ended in a draw. They agreed in a draw. Yes, dear friends. Nowadays, it is very hard to get a game, despite Manuel is having more than 100 elo points more than his opponent. Though I should say his opponent is very young. It was very hard even to get a game, so Manuel was forced to find all the strongest moves and equalize the position. Yes, David Shahinian is playing very creative chess. He went knight h8 as in famous game of Steinitz. Yes, here definitely we are having some technical issues, and h6 was played by, wow, let's check it. Yes, c4 is another option, rook d1. Wow, he knew queen c7, knight d5, queen d8, e5. Wow, knight d5, bishop f6, this is insane. Knight e4 would have been very strong. And knight e4 he will definitely play. Like, yes. Good prep by Arsène Davtyan. Yes. Wow. It's insane. Yes, white is better, and Van Alpadian is also having better position. And here d takes queen c3 with the ideas to go c5, probably even d5. Wow, how well they are playing. Like d5 to me, yes, but I think at d5, let's say c takes b5 or even c5, it does not look very promising for me. Yes, d takes queen c3 possible to find, Yes, queen c3 I would continue, and here rook d4 c5 as I pointed out, but in the end maybe a5 is hanging, no? But knight f4, and now surprisingly via Danielian noticed that bishop h3 and queen c8 or queen d7 is coming in some positions. Now, only if you move knight from e3, otherwise knight f5 can be there. Okay, dear friends, I apologize, but I should stop and end my stream, my live. I would continue, and but I had appointment already fixed, and I'm not sure how long will it take. That's why I decided to cover the games before the appointment. Yes, if I will have time, I will also cover later, close to evening. Yes, Sardinia tournament is there, Sigeman round robin tournament, and many others. Yes, but yes, at 5:30 Yerevan time, now it's about 5. I have appointments, so I should really rush not to be late. Yes, at least we have done about maybe 2 hours, little bit less, and covered one game, and at least one game has ended. Knight d2 was played. Yes, well played. Like this part, e takes d, knight f4 was quite well played by Danielian. Yes, thank you very much. And today I also recorded. Yes, bishop. What about bishop c4? Oh, bishop c4, knight f8. Oh, knight c5, bishop c5, queen f7, queen a3. The problem is you have problems with the development of c8 bishop and the whole side of the board. Yes, today I also recorded video. It was insane opening prep by 2400 player. You can check it out, and it is very interesting how well he knew, and maybe you can use in your online games or maybe over the board games. Yes, once again, thank you very much for being with me and watching live, or maybe later on you will check it out. And if you have any suggestions, anything, then please let me know in the comments section. We can discuss. Thank you, and let's finish our stream. Yes, once again I apologize for finishing it early.